right, this is the Test 1 review for MAT 1033 Intermediate Algebra. We're going to go over number 9. So number 9 says solve and write your answer using interval notation. It gives us 2/5 plus 3/7 is greater than or equal to x over 35. A couple different ways you can do this, but I see fractions, and so the first thing I want to do is get rid of the fractions. So in order to get rid of the fractions, I need to multiply everything by the LCD. So my denominators are 5, 7, and 35. So that means my LCD that I should multiply everything by is 35. I can make 5 into 35 by multiplying by 7. I can make 7 into 35 by multiplying by 5. And 35 is already 35, so that's good to go. So this is going to be my LCD. Remember, we're multiplying fractions, so we can write that 35 as it's 35 over 1. And I'm going to distribute this 35 to each term, both sides of my inequality. So whenever I multiply fractions, I have 35 on top. I'm going to multiply across, so 35 times 2 will give me 70. All over 1 times 5 is 5. Next one, I have 35 times 3 because I'm multiplying across. So 35 times 3 is 105. 1 times 7 is 7. Greater than or equal to 35 times x gives me 35x. All over 1 times 35 will give me 35. So in this step, I distributed my LCD, my least common denominator. So next I'm going to simplify my fractions so that way I can clear my fractions. So 70 divided by 5, 70 over 5 will give me 14. Plus, I have 105 divided by 7. That simplifies into 15. Greater than or equal to 35x over 35. 35 divided by 35 goes to 1, so they cancel each other out. So I'm just left with x. So I got rid of my fractions by simplifying. All right, so I can now combine like terms. I have 14 plus 15. So that'll give me 29 is greater than or equal to x. So I solved my inequality. I got x by itself. So now I can start writing my answer in interval notation. So in order to write an interval notation, I'm going to first graph this inequality on my number line. So I notice that a lot of us get a little tripped up whenever my x is second. That's okay. If it helps you, just flip it around. As long as my 29 is greater, 29 is greater than or equal to. Either way, those two statements mean the same thing, just different ways of writing them. So I now know that x is less than or equal to 29. So we're talking about everything that's less than, everything on the left-hand side of 29. It says or equals to. So this little line underneath tells me that we're going to use a bracket or a closed circle, either way, depending on how my math lab likes it. But either way, we know that 29 is included in this set. And I know this goes from negative infinity all the way positive infinity. So we're good to go. We graph that. Now writing an interval notation. So it's going on forever in this direction. So we're going towards negative infinity. I can never reach negative infinity, so that will be a parentheses. And we're stopping at 29. Like we said, 29 was included, so we are going to use a bracket. So that is my final answer for number 9, an interval notation of solving this inequality.